Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Yes, I'm a Mom podcast. My name is Tanisha Lacey, and before I get started, let me just go ahead and remind you to click like, subscribe, share, follow, comment, do all of those great things, depending upon whatever platform you are listening in on at this moment. First, just let me say welcome back to you guys coming back to this podcast after such a delay. It's been a few months. I've had a lot going on and just kind of needed to take a break, step back, process, assess everything that had been going on. So I am happy and excited to be back and able to record. So there have been some things that I've decided that I wanted to kind of change even in terms of this podcast, the direction in which I would want to go. Originally, when I started, I did start this with the idea in mind of being kind of focused a little bit more towards parenting and motherhood and those types of topics, with the occasional sprinkle in of, whatever other various things came to mind. But to be completely honest, those types of topics have not really been what's on the forefront of my mind. So, although I am a mother and I will still continue to sprinkle in different aspects of things parent related, I think I am going to make this more of a little bit of a more general type of podcast to whatever's just going on with me or with you guys or in the public in general. Do feel free to give me your feedback on that. Let me know how you feel about that. But there's just so many more other topics I want to talk about. So I don't want to feel restricted to just parenting. The other thing is I do think I'm going to start doing more video recordings for my episodes that I will be putting up on YouTube. I actually kind of wanted this first episode back to be the first episode like that, but there's been a few technical difficulties. I've been transitioning my whole setup. So I had it in one part of the house and now it's in another. And with time restraints, it may not always be possible for me. So even once I start recording the video, I'm not going to guarantee that every single episode will be recorded in video, but I will do as many as I can that way. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Definitely leave me some feedback and let me know what you think about those episodes when they come up. So to go ahead and catch you guys up on a little bit of where I've been and why I had paused on my recordings. Life happens, and especially with everything going on in the world and with COVID and then the things going on in our personal lives, sometimes you just get thrown for a loop. And I must admit, that happened for me. Now, I can't say that I've had a heavy hit from COVID myself personally or with those around me, so that aspect hasn't really shifted too much. What it has touched in terms of my career, though, since I'm a realtor and seeing is how I will say that I primarily work with buyers. I can work with buyers or sellers, but currently I'm primarily working with buyers. I'm going to be honest, it's just easier as a new agent. However, with the interest rates being as low as what they had been over the last several months, it's made everyone want to go out and buy all at the same time. And that's definitely a deal, and it was a good timing to do so, especially if you had done it back when the rates very first dropped, like in that April, May range. If you got in then, you got in really good. But what I've been seeing lately is all of the overbidding that's been happening on properties and whatnot. And so, being able to put in an offer, and it can be a good offer, great offer, but when you're seeing 8, 11, and in one instance, 28 offers on the same home, it's so incredibly competitive right now. So as a new agent, I'm seeing how difficult that can be to actually close a deal, much less even just get into escrow in the first place. So that's definitely one thing I've been dealing with, and it's really a learning process, and I'm okay with that. So it definitely makes me want to buckle down and really just continue to learn this industry inside and out, and continue to be able to provide the best possible assistance to my clients that I can. So once again, let me put that shout out to anyone listening. If you are in the Alameda County area, the Contra Costa County area, San Joaquin County, if you're anywhere around the Bay Area and you are looking for a real estate agent, I'm your girl, Tanisha Lacey, right here for you. Buyers and sellers, I work with both. I've got you. So that was what was going on business-wise. relationship status, I believe the last time I even spoke on that topic, I was letting you guys know how I was single and I was focusing on myself, and that is indeed what I was doing. But shortly thereafter, your girl slipped up. She slipped up and, stumbled upon a major distraction. I'll put it like that. And that distraction, though it started off very pleasant, I have to say, if you go back and listen to my episode that I did on dating while parenting, or it was something like that kind of title, I did stick to most of my rules. I'll say that. Most of my opinions. I missed one or two, but the really important ones, no kids were met or anything like that. There was no fusion of families. It was nothing along those lines. Now, ultimately, that dating situation, it lasted, I would say, maybe two to 3 months, something like that. And though it was very brief, a lot came about from it. Now, usually I'm very transparent, and I will I'll probably get to explaining the details, the juicy bits of what happened and why that went wrong in a later episode. At this time, I will just say something big happened, and it changed the whole dynamic of the interaction, which caused it to decline. Now, you would think that would be the end all of the story. Okay, so it just ended. For me, to be honest, the struggle came because when there was a previous situation that I thought that I was over, and I realized that I wasn't. That was the situation where my most previous ex, which would be my child's father, when I realized he was in a new relationship. There's nothing worse than you ending a relationship only to find out that your most recent ex is in a new relationship. So that kind of took me for a blow, especially due to the way that I found out, which was completely by accident, just stumbled upon pictures, and I had no idea about it. Now, it would seem as though this wouldn't even be a big deal, and I did do an episode earlier in the year speaking about why I was single and what had happened with my exes and all of that, and at that time I definitely felt like I was completely over the situation, but the subconscious is a funny thing, It's one of those kind of things where you think you're not tripping on it because it's not in your face and you haven't seen it. So the way that our relationship ended, I guess I can kind of say it died very slowly, stretched out over a long period of time. And so I think we both just kind of went numb to it. And as far as I had known, he had been single. So after having my situation with this new person, and immediately after stumbling upon this picture and seeing, oh, okay, my ex has moved on, it stirred up a lot of feelings for me, and it made me start reflecting back over the relationship. And a lot of times when you're in a situation and you're wrapped up in your emotions and with a lot of heat in the moment in a negative way, it's hard for you to sometimes really process the situation and really look at it honestly to determine whether you're handling certain situations correctly. Once I did that this time around, I saw several different areas in which things could have been handled very differently on both our parts, but a lot more on my behalf. So that whole realization took a toll on me as well, because it wasn't just the end of a relationship that I was looking at, it was also, in my mind, the end of a possibility of ever having my family back together again, because ultimately that's what I had initially wanted, and it's also why I tried to hang in there as long as possible, because ultimately that is really truly what I had wanted, was to keep the family together. But I also wasn't one to stay somewhere that I wasn't happy, and at that time I wasn't. But as I've expressed now, I see that I had attributed more to my unhappiness within that relationship than he actually did. So with that in mind, there was just several reality checks that I was getting back to back about that situation in my mind that kind of took me down that road where it was just time for isolation. I mean, not outside of my family or my kids, but I just needed a break for a minute. So I did that. I've definitely leaned a lot more on my spirituality. I'm not religious, but I am very spiritual. So when it comes to meditation and self-reflection, I've been reading books. There's actually an awesome book. I don't have it right here next to me, but it's called Love Without Conditions, and the author's name is Paul, I want to say Farini or something like that. Awesome book. Whether you're religious or not, you're spiritual or not, this is just an amazing book for anyone to read. It helped me so much, I have to say. And I actually bought it and read it earlier this year, and I recommended it to a friend who was going through a lot. She loved it as well. And so now that I had been going through my own situation, she had reminded me I needed to go back and read that book. And so that's what I'm about to do. And I really highly recommend that book. If you're not religious or you don't believe in Jesus, don't mind the cover, because there is a huge Jesus face on the cover, but I promise you it's not religious at all. Do check that book out, Love Without Conditions by Paul, I think it's Farini. So anyways, what I will say is one good thing that came out of this whole situation, relationship wise, I love my daughter. I already did. But for some reason, it made me fall in love with her even more. I don't know what that was about or why that was, but it just, when I looked at her, it just kind of made me feel as though what I had just gone through was something that was meant for me to go through, just because of the type of growth that it had kick-started within me, the way that it was a catalyst for change of what I'm going through even further on a deeper personal level. I just felt as though the fact that she was the reason for that, it just made her seem so much more powerful to me in my mind. I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly, how I feel, or if that makes sense or whatnot, but it was kind of like, because if we hadn't have had a kid together when we broke up initially, like well over a year ago, it would have been just a cut dry situation. But the fact that we lingered in there because we had a child, it made it seem so much more intentional. And I just had to look at her as being the reason that we remained around each other longer than maybe we were supposed to. But in doing that, this ultimately was the catalyst for a great change in both of us, I feel like both of us learned and grew from that situation. And that's an awesome thing if you can walk away from that, especially if you're able to take those lessons into the rest of your life, into your next relationships, and you guys both perform better as people, as partners, as everything. So that was an awesome thing. So where I am now is heavily focused on personal development. I'm trying to get everything in order in my life right now. I'm talking about mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, like everything needs to be checked. On one hand, I feel like this is the chapter of self-love that I had been avoiding for so many years. I knew that I needed to do it. I knew that I needed to put that time in, but it was never one of those things that was convenient. You have your mind on so many other things. You're like, I'll get to it. I know I gotta do it. I'm gonna get to it. I will. I promise. I swear. But you just keep putting it on the back burner. And so now is really that time where all the things that I've been procrastinating with and being stagnant, and I'm heavily charged with that energy to finally execute a lot of things that are long overdue for being done. This includes weight loss. This includes work performance and expansion within my new career. This includes diving into investing. This includes establishing spiritual practices that I tend to regularly. Like one of my major ones that I am so inconsistent with is meditation. I want to be very consistent with that. And there's several other things, but those are just a couple that I'm starting off with. I did go ahead and make my list. There are like 14 things on my list for 2021, and I am dead set on smashing all of those goals. So I'll be keeping you guys up to date with the different things that I'm doing and how well I'm doing on my progress throughout the year. And I hope you guys have taken some time to think about it even for yourself. What kind of things would you like to be different about 2021? And I don't mean this in some cliche New Year's resolution. Everybody starts off the first couple of weeks cool, but then fall off. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like real lifestyle changes, not just for 2021, but for your future in general. general, like from here on out, things that will be long-standing and things that are really helping you get your footing and your foundation together for your future, those kind of things. And also on the flip side, it's not lost upon me that because I do want to be in a long-term relationship and marriage and all that good stuff, it is important that you be that whole package, because like does attract like. And if you are lacking or you are broken or there are certain things that you've been procrastinating on tending to within yourself, then the quality of what you'll be attracting is oftentimes less than what you truly, truly desire. And we're not about settling here. So before I can ever really expect to come across the situation that's most ideal for me or has the biggest chance of success, that means I need to put myself in a position to be the best possible version that I can be and allow that to flourish out to all other avenues of my life, so that like can attract the like that I really desire. Because it makes a difference. Really think about it sometimes. When you're thinking about past situations and how bad they could have turned out, how were you on the inside, mentally and emotionally, even spiritually sometimes, at the time that you met that person? Sometimes, you can meet someone and they drag you down or whatnot, but to me that only furthermore goes to show that there was something that was not solid within you at that time. But like will always attract like. And I'm speaking of that energetically. But in conclusion, I just wanted to go ahead and come back, say hello, and get these recordings up and going again. Once again, they will be put out every Sunday at 12 noon if I am to have time, which I don't know how that will go nowadays. My schedule is starting to get a little bit busier. But if I have time and I feel like just hopping on and venting real quick, you may catch some random episodes throughout the week. But for the most part, just look forward to Sundays at 12 noon. If you don't already follow me on social media, I am on Instagram and on Facebook with Yes, I'm a Mom podcast. So definitely look me up there. I look forward to giving you guys new material and episodes. Be sure to also let me know if there's any specific topics you want me to cover or any stories, or even if you just need advice on something, like hit me up. You can leave comments on whatever forum that you're listening to this on, or you can send me an email directly at yesimthemom@gmail.com. Other than that, you guys take care. You think about your future for what you want to do for 2021, and I will definitely catch you guys later. Stay safe out there. Bye.